Total Pro Sports presents 15 NBA players who could play in the NFL. Though the National Football League and National Basketball Association are rivals in terms of their growing respective businesses and recruiting the best athletes, the fact remains that some players could do both. Two of America's most professional sports leagues feature athletes that could get the best of both worlds. Here are the top 15 NBA players who would shine in the NFL. Number 15, Paul George. The star of the Indiana Pacers has been a force in his NBA career, especially defensively. If he were to ever jump to the NFL, there's no doubt he'd be a force on defense. George's 6'9" frame would make him one impossible defensive lineman to fully contain, or even if he were to play wide receiver, maybe even quarterback. Number 14, Chris Paul. Paul possesses every skill needed to fit the bill as a lockdown NFL cornerback. He has great speed, quickness, and agility. His mobility would make him one of the league's best defenders. He'd fit like another Richard Sherman or Chris Harris. But who knows, maybe even better. Number 13, Matt Barnes. Think of an NFL wide receiver who is ridiculously fast, but also has tremendous size to win the 50-50 balls. Brandon Marshall and Julio Jones come to mind, and Barnes would fit perfectly in that role. At 6'7", he would be one receiver that's nearly impossible to contain. Unfortunately, we'll never know what could have been. Number 12, RAJON Rondo. Rondo is one of the smallest yet most agile and fastest players in the NBA, and there's a role in the NFL that he would more than succeed at. Rondo would be an ideal slot receiver for teams, being like another Wes Welker or Julian Edelman. Rondo's cuts have been so smooth, and there's no doubt his speed would get him open in space if he were to play as a receiver. Number 11, IGUODALA. Not many athletes possess a frame of 6'6" and ridiculously good speed, and that's what IGUODALA has been blessed with. IGUODALA could play multiple NFL positions, but if anything, he'd be a tight end, similar to Rob Gronkowski. His combination of size and speed are unmatched by most well-known athletes. Number 10, Glen Davis. This 6'9" NBA player would be one of the biggest forces ever seen by the league if he were to trade careers. Glen Davis would be an ideal offensive lineman or defensive lineman with his 289-pound frame. He could block like no one else or simply burst through offensive lines. NFL teams are just happy they'll never have to deal with him. Number 9, Dwight Howard. The thought of Howard joining the NFL would be absolutely terrorizing for the thousands of NFL players known to mankind. Howard would fit as an ideal defensive lineman, and his huge size would help him be able to reach out and tackle anybody within a couple of yards of him. No running back would dare run in his direction. Number 8, Andre Drummond. Every NFL quarterback needs a reliable person to protect them on the right or left sides, and few NBA players would be suited to block like Drummond. At a ridiculous 6'10", 270 pounds, Drummond has the size yet rare speed and quickness that most men his size do. Those are the offensive linemen NFL teams dream of having but never get. There'd be almost no way of getting past him if he were to block in the NFL. Number 7, Blake Griffin. Griffin's size and massive build would help him exceed as a pass rusher off the edge in the NFL. At 6'10" and 251 pounds, one could think he'd be another J.J. Watt or Von Miller, except much bigger. Griffin would be someone nearly impossible to block in the NBA. Should he ever quit on basketball, the NFL could be calling him, if only. Number 6, Nate Robinson. The well-known slam dunk guru would be able to use his small size to fit in as an elite cornerback anywhere in the NFL. At an average height of 5'9", Robinson's overall quickness would make him excel in the NFL. If his slam dunks in competitions were an indication of anything, he'd be able to jump over blockers too. Number 5, Isaiah Thomas. Like Robinson, Thomas is 5'9", which is close to the size many NFL kick and punt returners are. Thomas is one of the fastest players the NBA has seen. Given how he's been able to move his way through defenders, he'd be one awesome return man if he ever wanted to give it a chance. Number 4, DeMarcus Cousins. Speaking of players we believe would be terrifying to block, perhaps nobody is more intimidating than Cousins. The man who's just an inch under 7 feet that weighs 270 pounds would be a combination of J.J. Watt and Von Miller, with his quickness and speed to bull rush through any blockers he wanted to. Cousins is set on the NBA, and 32 NFL teams are thrilled about that. Number 3, John Wall. There is no questioning this in any way. Wall is widely considered the fastest player in the NBA, and at 6'4" would have tremendous size and speed to instantly become one of the NFL's best receivers. Wall would be able to break away from defenders and also gain separation for deep balls. Yeah, that sounds like a guy named Randy Moss. Does his name ring a bell? Number 2, Russell Westbrook. Though Westbrook may have said that he'd probably be best suited as a safety, this man would be an ideal wide receiver or even power running back. His toughness, speed, and agility are all the makings of being an elite running back in the NFL. But Westbrook also fits the bill as a wide receiver. Whatever it is, if he were to give the NFL a shot, he'd have to try multiple positions before seeing which would be best for him. And number 1, LeBron James. As if this came as a surprise. LeBron James would be an NFL superstar and would undoubtedly land a massive lucrative deal if he announced his decision to go play pro football. James would be an ideal tight end. At 6'8" but still using ridiculous toughness and speed, LeBron would be able to dismantle any defenders that get in his way, and it would take multiple defenders to bring him down. And that's it for 15 NBA players who could play in the NFL. But wait, we are not done with you yet. In the comments below, we want to know, which NFL players do you think could play in the NBA? And for more cool videos, click subscribe.